Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and today I'm here with my Library-A-Thon 2018 TBR. If you caught my video last week, you know that I'm one of the hosts this year, and I'm very excited about it. I'll have links to the other hosts down below, and today we're going to talk about what I'm going to try to read between June 3rd and June 9th, which is when the Library-A-Thon is happening. We have 6 reading challenges for the Library-A-Thon, and you can feel free to ignore them, double them up, triple them up, whatever you please, but I'm going to give you a book for almost every one of them. The first challenge is to borrow and read a book set in a country you've never read a book set in before, and for that I am choosing Frankenstein in Baghdad. In this book, a man tries to make a political statement by collecting body parts from several different corpses and putting them together, wanting it to have a proper burial. However, the corpse then goes missing, and then there's a series of strange murders. This was originally published in Arabic and has been translated and is obviously set in Iraq, a country from which I've never read a book. And I do love me a good horror story retelling, so I'm excited. The second challenge is to borrow read a book you've never heard of before, and for this one I don't have a book picked out yet. What I'm going to do for this one is the day before the readathon starts, I'm going to check our digital collection and see what audiobooks are available for download. As long as I've never heard of it before, that's going to be what I pick. And I'm glad I remembered to do this because I sometimes forget that I need to get an audiobook for the week, and then I don't have an audiobook for a readathon, which is really helpful if you're trying to get through so many books in one week. The third challenge is to borrow and read a book out of your comfort zone. Now for me, I know that I will generally read pretty much anything, so I just tried to focus on finding a book that I knew was going to make me uncomfortable, but I knew I was going to read for that reason anyway. The book I picked for this one is Killers of the Flower Moon, The Osage Murders, and the Birth of the FBI. In the 1920s in the States, the richest people per capita were members of the Osage Nation. I know this is going to be uncomfortable to read because the Osage were First Nations people and they were being killed off by white people so they could steal their land and their money. Good old colonialism. The fourth challenge is to borrow and read a book you've been meaning to get to but haven't gotten to yet, and for this I've picked From Here to Eternity, Traveling the World to Find the Good Death. This is a book by Caitlin Doughty, who actually has a YouTube channel called Ask Mortician. I read her first book, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Stories from the Crematorium, and found it fascinating and the writing really engaging. And I've been meaning to read this book since it came out and I just haven't gotten to it. Number 5 is to borrow and read a book recommended to you by a librarian or a library staff member, and for this I've picked My Cat Yugoslavia. All I really know about this one is one of the 2 main characters is LGBT, it takes place in the 80s, and then it takes place in his timeline, and it takes place in Yugoslavia as well as Finland. In 1980s Yugoslavia, a young Muslim girl is married off, the country is torn apart, and they flee. Fast forward to her son, who now lives in Finland and is queer. And from what I gather, there's magical realism in this because there's a talking cat. So basically I heard it's queer and it's weird and I went, yeah, I'll read that. Also, I double checked what genre this book was and I learned a new word. Bildungsroman, which apparently is a novel dealing with someone's formative years and spiritual education. So that's the genre of this book. And the final challenge is to borrow and read a bookish book, and this one sounds mighty bookish. The title is very long, I'm gonna read it off my screen. The Man Who Loved Books Too Much, True Story of a Thief, a Detective, and a World of Literary Obsession. Basically, this is the true story of a book-obsessed thief and a guy called a bibliodick, which I just had to laugh about, who is a book dealer turned amateur detective trying to track down this book thief. Both love books, one for stealing purposes and one for stopping him purposes. And there you have it, those are the 5 books plus random book that I plan to read during this readathon. That of course is if all these holds come in at the right time. If they don't, I will be in a library the day before the readathon starts, so I will come up with a contingency plan. Are you taking part in the Library-A-Thon? If so, let me know down below, and also be sure to link your TBR videos because I would love to see what everybody's picking for these challenges. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that like or subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!